Dream put out a video responding to everything, and I truly mean everything. In this video titled The Truth, he talks about basically every scandal or allegation that he's ever been involved with, from small things like cheating on Minecraft, which nobody should really care about that much, all the way up to huge things like the many grooming allegations that he's had. But since this video is an hour and a half long, I'm just going to go over each of these scandals individually, telling you what happened, telling you Dream's perspective on it, and then giving you any additional context around the situation that you might need to know in order to create an informed decision about how you want to think of Dream moving forward. The first scandal being his face leak photo.
Otherwise, I want to start with the biggest lie
Oh, sorry, that's on 2x speed. I watch everything on 2x speed.
I've ever told. The face leak photo was me. Of course, it's from when I was really young and I've lost a lot of weight since then, and it wasn't at all.
Yeah, it's a bit of a low ball to start, but he is going chronologically, and this was like his first big scandal when he started to blow up and people were trying to figure out who this picture it is or who Dream really is, and they found this picture and people kind of collectively decided this is who it was. Now, at the time, people said it was him, and then he denied that it was him, which kind of makes sense because, one, he wanted to remain anonymous, and doing that would have effectively face revealed before he was ready, and two, lots of people were being harassed for being Dream at the time. There were other viral videos going around Twitter, or viral pictures also going around Twitter, supposedly of a doxed picture of Dream, and these people were being found in real life and harassed for being Dream, even though they actually weren't. So the fact that he so vehemently denied it is absolutely understandable, but he kind of went too far, I think, on Twitter, where he was kind of attacking or poking at people who were saying that this was Dream, basically saying, don't do that, don't harass people. You're making random people's lives worse by doing this. Now, that was a pretty small thing. So what we have to get into next is one of his larger early controversies, and that was the Minecraft speedrun cheating.
Now moving on to one of the most talked about controversies, the cheating scandal. I'm going to be pretty concise with this one because it's been covered a million times and most of you are probably pretty sick of hearing about it, but it's still really important to talk about. It's one of the most frequent reasons people point to as to why not to trust me. I did unintentionally cheat on a speedrun that I officially submitted to the leaderboards in 2020, and the speedrun mods were completely in the right for taking it down. I was using a disallowed mod for about a week.
Basically what happened is Dream got a top 10 in the world Minecraft speedrun, but as people watched the speedrun back, they started to realize how incredibly lucky it looked like Dream had gotten in the video, because he was getting all sorts of crazy drop rates, which is basically just the rate at which the pigmen or the villagers give you items that will help you complete the speedrun. People realized that he was getting hugely lucky in how many items he was getting. The mods of the speedrun forum also agreed that it was simply too much luck to be coincidence, and they took down his speedrun. Now, Dream in this video says he got upset on Twitter about it, but eventually found out that he had been accidentally using a mod and admitted his mistake, apologized, and then removed all of the speedruns that he had ever submitted to the Minecraft speedrun leaderboard. And all of that is technically true, but I do think it's important to note that this very much undersells the amount of harassment that these mods got after they took down Dream's speedrun and Dream attacked them on Twitter for it. He basically directly tweeted at these people, causing his fans to then go and harass the people in real life, which, while it probably was not his intention that they would get harassed significantly, that was the outcome of it. These people are volunteers, and they don't deserve to be harassed. They're doing Minecraft speedrun moderation just for basically the love of the game. But he did admit that he messed up, apologized extensively, both publicly and privately, to the mods for it. And I think at this point, after he had already caused all the issues that he had, that's kind of the best that could be done. The third scandal he goes into is this one about Manate Tre, who was a content creator that was also on the Dream SMP.
The next thing I'm going to talk about is a pretty big one that you might not have heard about, but it's a pretty important one. Manate Tre. Now, if you don't know who Manate Tre is a content creator that I added to my server, the Dream SMP, a couple years ago. They were anonymous like me, and they had a very short career. There was a thread made about Manate Tre saying that they doxed him and that he was an IRL friend of mine, had been charged with domestic violence, and that I was trying to hide it. Manate Tre was removed from the SMP by me, all of his accounts were deleted, and I made a statement talking about how I don't support domestic violence, I wasn't aware of any domestic violence, and that due to how complicated the situation was, I decided to remove Manate Tre from the SMP. I also strongly alluded to the fact that the doxed information was incorrect. Everything I just said was true, except for the fact that Manate Tre was my childhood best friend. I came up with the name Manate Tre, I made the accounts.
You get the idea. Basically, Manate Tre was a childhood friend of Dream's who, as Dream blew up, he decided, hey, this good friend of mine for a while, I'm going to bring him on. He can also become a content creator. He can be part of the Dream SMP. I'll help launch his content creator career. The reason why this had happened, as Dream later explained in the video, is that Manate Tre had fallen on pretty significantly hard times. He was homeless, he was having issues with the law, and so Dream offered him basically a place to stay, completely for free, let him crash on his couch, paid for all of his groceries, his housing, everything like that, because that's what friends do. I mean, they look out for each other, and when times get tough, they come through for each other in these kinds of situations. So basically, Dream gave him everything that he needed in order to survive, and then was planning, because again, they were friends for a long time, he was planning to basically launch his content creation career. However, as this content creation career was launching, a lot of allegations started coming out about Manate Tre, saying that he was an abuser, and initially, Dream lashed out at the people that were alleging this on Twitter and led to a lot of harassment towards the person that had come out about this alleged abuse. Now, as more evidence came out, however, Dream started to look into it personally and found out that it actually was true, that Manate Tre was actually a registered abuser. At which point, Dream cut off all contact with him, kicked him off of the Minecraft SMP server, put out the twit longer that he shows in the videos, and basically said that he was done and cut all contact with him entirely. And this one is actually kind of a little more understandable, because nobody wants to believe that a childhood best friend of theirs could do something as horrible as abuse. When you grow up with someone and you're friends with them as deeply as childhood best friends are, you want to believe the best about them. So when you hear something terrible about them, your first instinct is to defend them. But I do think Dream was wrong in the way that he defended it, which involved lashing out at people that were saying this on Twitter. But ultimately, this one I kind of get. He did the right thing eventually by owning up to his mistake, cutting him off and apologizing for having defended him at all. And losing a best friend kind of sucks. I feel for Dream on this one, but I do also believe that when you're as powerful as Dream is, with the kind of fan base that Dream has, with the reach that Dream has, that you shouldn't have lashed out. But I do kind of get it. Moving on to the fourth scandal, which involves thirst traps. This one, we're starting a little different. We're starting at 1323. This is just to make it faster for you to understand what's happening.
Thirst traps.
He does post thirst traps.
That's the first thing I'm going to talk about. Uniquely, because I didn't reveal my face until last year, I can actually pretty reasonably show you every photo and video of myself that I've ever posted on the internet. So they're going to start scrolling by now in a completely random order. While you watch, it's important to note that what you post on something like Snapchat is very different than something you'd post on Instagram or Twitter. Snapchat runs ads every 5 or 6 photos and encourages you to post upwards of 100 photos or videos a day to have the most growth and make the most money.
Before we get too far into this one, if you enjoy this kind of video where I'm trying to break down things in a nuanced way so that you can make your own informed decision, I'd love it if you subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subs. Now, Dream in this section of the video talks about how he was getting backlash for supposedly posting thirst traps on Snapchat, but in reality, he actually posts dozens and dozens of pictures per day to try and maximize the amount of profit that he makes on Snapchat, with some of those being pictures in which he thinks he looks good, but those are then blown up other places like Reddit and Twitter as him posting thirst traps for kids. And this one's a bit dicey, because people are correct that he does post pictures where he thinks he looks good, but are those pictures thirst traps? I think that's kind of up to you to decide. Personally, I think it's more of an ego thing, where he thinks he looks good and he wants other people to acknowledge that he looks good. And so amongst other just look how interesting my life is pictures, he's also posting pictures where he thinks he is handsome or good looking. But I don't necessarily think that this is like as horrible as it was made out to be at the time, because if we look at other people who have large kid-based audiences, we can talk about Mr. Beast, who's got the largest audience there is, including a huge amount of children, and he posted this picture, and this is a bit cut off, but he's gripping his balls so hard in this picture, but he didn't really receive any backlash for this, as I believe he shouldn't have. And then if you jump over to other TikTok content creators, who obviously are almost 100% child audiences because of the demographic that uses TikTok, you get people like Charli D'Amelio, second largest TikToker on the world, and she's posting these kind of pictures as well. You could argue these are thirst traps towards an audience that is far more packed with children than Dream's audiences is. But it's not just the girls. The guys are doing it too. This is Brent Rivera, huge child audience. I would reckon 95% of his viewers are children, but he's also posting these kinds of pictures for his primarily child audience, but they're not being criticized like Dream is for this. And I think Dream actually sums it up pretty well when he says this.
Posted it, and now it will haunt me until the end of time. I'm cringy and being serious when I make satire posts. I'm full of myself when I post a normal photo. I'm gross when I post a bad photo. I'm weird when I post a silly photo. It's just people assuming the worst or just not knowing who I am, which...
Basically, I think this is a good summary of it, of people are assuming the worst, but I think a lot of this is initially caused by the fact that he has a big ego and he thinks he looks good and he wants to be affirmed for looking good in that. But I don't think there's any kind of a sexual aspect toward, more specifically sexual aspect towards minors surrounding his thirst traps. I think he just enjoys the attention, which isn't bad. You could think that's cringy or weird, but it's not illegal. Moving on to the 5th scandal, we're talking about the time when he called his fan base kittens, which is a thing that happened, and it is as weird as you think it is, but we'll give him a chance to talk about it himself.
Used to say that I'm weird. First of all, me calling my fan base kittens. Now, this was a stupid tweet. If I could go back, never would have tweeted it. I completely understand.
Honestly, I don't think this one is really worth harping on too much. He says in the tweet that he loves his fan base, and then he jokingly calls them kittens. I think it was a stupid tweet. I think he knows it was a stupid tweet. It was a cringy tweet. I think he knows it was a cringy tweet. He was basically trying to reference the Discord kitten meme that was all over the internet at the time, but when you make that kind of a joke to a fan base that most people think are children, it comes across as pretty weird. It's phenomenally cringy, and I think he acknowledges that. We're gonna move on from this one, but right before we move on, I do want to point out this one thing that he says about it at 22:46. He says this when talking about the fact that he has, or people are saying that he has an underage audience. He says this about it.
Occupies Minecraft seed. My videos, even to this day, are super long, don't have that quick retention style editing or sound effects or anything that a lot of channels do. And I also have a large pro gamer audience.
He says that they don't have that kind of retention with sound effects and stuff, but that's honestly just not really true. If you watch any of his Minecraft speedrun videos, there's high impact music, there's lots of dramatic buildup, there's lots of tension, there's lulls in order to build the tension so that there's a big payoff when like Sapnap and Bad Boy Halo or whoever's in the Minecraft speedrunning videos, the Minecraft Manhunt videos, finds him and that kind of thing. They are entirely built around building attention and giving attention payoff in order to maximize viewer retention. And one of the tools that's used is like, not sound effects per se, but like really dramatic music. So it's kind of weird that he's phrasing it as like some 1 hour unedited video gameplay thing that doesn't maximize viewer retention, when very obviously what he's doing is trying to maximize viewer retention, which is not a bad thing, by the way, but it's weird that he would phrase it like it's not. Moving on to his 6th allegation / scandal, this is where stuff's going to start to get more serious, and you start to getting into the things like conversations with underage people, so on and so forth. So just a fair warning going forward, but this is what he says about this first scandal
against me that were spread pretty far were made the day after my face reveal on October 3rd, 2022. A girl named Anastasia tweeted out, "He's only face revealing because he's scared that I'll do it first." And then she followed it up by tweeting, "I'm too tired / real life struggling to get involved, but the YouTuber trending right now already face revealed to me years ago when he was flirting with me when I was a minor." Obviously, because of my face reveal,
so basically, a Twitter user named Anastasia came forward claiming that they had had inappropriate conversations with Dreams, and they showed screenshots of iMessages between them and Dream, with supposedly backing up these claims. Now, some of the messages that she offered did turn out to be fake, but some of the messages were very flirty and also very real. However, at the time that these confirmed real messages had happened, she was actually 18. Now, Dream spends this part of the video basically going through all of the messages from when she was underage and debunking those, showing those how those were either fake or taken widely out of context in order to paint them in a horrible light, and then kind of lets that imply that the rest of the messages were also fake. But it is worth pointing out that she was definitely 18 at the time. That's the wrong screenshot. But he did actually admit that some of the DMs on Instagram, which were cringy and flirty, were actually real. But again, she was over 18 at the time, and this is him admitting that in his tweet longer when this first came out a little while ago. The second thread has Instagram DMs from me, again, having friendly, normal conversation and nothing inappropriate. I believe these messages were real. Once again, she was 18 years old, says she was 18 years old, and even had a boyfriend while she was friendly with me. Now, to be entirely clear, I think it's weird that he's chatting and flirting with fans at all, even if they are of age, but I do think nothing illegal took place here. I think he enjoys being flirted with because it feeds his big ego that I'm very strongly convinced that he has. But I don't think he's ever at any point trying to translate this flirting online into anything actually tangible like sexting her nudes. Next, we're moving on to the 7th total allegation between someone named Amanda and Dream, and Amanda claims that Dream Snapchatted and sexted her while she was underage, and this is how what Dream has to say.
Now, the second allegation is what I'm going to talk about in extreme detail. Second allegation came out soon after the first and said that the first allegation was why they were sharing their story. It was from a girl that claimed that when she was 17, we inappropriately messaged. This did not happen.
Now, this is about a Twitter user named Amanda who claims that she and Dream exchanged DMs on Instagram for a large period of time until eventually Dream added her on Snapchat, where they exchanged nudes and sexted. Her proof is Instagram DMs between the two of them, including one where he gave her his Snapchat and told her to add him. Now, the DMs on Instagram are very real, but they don't actually have anything so directly inappropriate that you would be able to make a call for grooming. And after being added on Snapchat, we don't have any kind of records of what happened because it's Snapchat and everything disappears. And the only proof that she really offers that there were actually nudes exchanged or sexting going on was these two screenshots in which he replies to, allegedly replies to stories of hers, and this is from his The Truth thing, and he says that they are supposedly from him, so he doesn't confirm or deny whether or not these are, but I think he would have vehemently denied it if they weren't from him. So I'm going to go on the assumption that they are actually from him, where he says, "You're gorgeous as fuck." And then at another time, he says, "Bad bitch, fine as hell, beach day." But when both of these messages were received by her, she was 18 at the time, per her own admission, given that she posted like a blurred out driver's license or some kind of a state ID card that showed her birthday. I do, however, want to back up just a little bit here and say that it is super weird that he's adding people from his audience to his Snapchat. And I just think that the other messages are also weird. These messages are not appropriate to have with a fan if you are a content creator. Unless you're friends in real life outside of your content creation, I think this is really just kind of a bad look. But also, because this supposedly happened on Snapchat, there's no way that anyone can make a call either way as to whether or not this absolutely definitively happened or didn't happen. And considering that a lot of the proof offered by Amanda turned out to be a lie, I think this is pretty safe to say that it probably, insofar as I can tell right now, given the evidence I have, I don't believe that this happened. Some of the evidence that's offered that turned out not to be true is she says that she has more evidence, she filed police reports, she has stories from other people, she's going to release all of this soon, so on and so forth, but no police reports were ever filed. She never came back with any other stories. She's gone radio silent for the last year and a half, and we just haven't heard anything else tangible for anyone of authority, such as lawyers, law enforcement, etc. So I really don't think this is real. But I also want to reiterate that I really do think that Dream is an egomaniacal person who wants to get attention from anyone that will give it to him, and that includes young fans. And I think that's weird, and I think it's worth criticizing, but I very pointedly do not think that it is grooming or pedophilia or illegal. I think it's just icky. Now, this entire situation and explanation goes on for a bit as he's showing basically all the screenshots that he can possibly gather, but we're going to move on to the next one. I've summarized it all pretty well for you, so we're going to move on to the next one that happens at 47:44, and this is the huge internet beef that happened between Nicholas Cantu, who's the voice for Gumball, and Dream on Twitter, and this is what Dream has to say about it.
Nicholas Cantu. If you don't know who that is, he's the voice actor for Gumball, Diego from Dora, and one of the turtles in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I had a terrible experience in real life with this person, so I replied to him talking about it and defending myself, and this situation blew up. I don't think I've ever gotten more hate in my life. September 23rd, I went to a friend of mine's birthday.
So basically what happened is Nicholas Cantu, who is the voice of Gumball, commented on a parody Dream account saying, "I want you dead." And here is where we can see that original message. This is Dream was Talon, not Dream was taken. So this is a parody account that ripped one of his Snapchat stories and then put a fake thirst tweet over it. And Nicholas Cantu, this is him, said, "I want you dead," and this tweet absolutely blew up. This led to them fighting on Twitter, with each trying to make the other look bad, and finally ended up with Dream thinking he could win and make Nicholas Cantu look worse than he was by posting that video that you saw of Cantu saying all sorts of horrible anti-Semitic things, racist things, using slurs and so on. However, Dream posting that video didn't really help at all, and the internet basically continued to hate on him. The beef went on for a while until people, as they do, eventually kind of got bored and it kind of died out. Now, I remember when this beef was happening and I was watching the video and looking at Dream's replies and Cantu's replies and thinking, wow, they both really suck. Cantu sucks because he's doing things like wishing people dead and making up lies about Dream to try and make him look bad to get some Twitter clout. And Dream sucks because he's doing weird clapbacks at people trying to ratio him and people that are defending him. And also kind of sucks for posting this video trying to make him look bad that would potentially destroy his career. To be clear, I am a little bit more on Dream's side than I am on Cantu's side for this, but also they're both kind of pathetic, petty children that are squabbling over nothing online. Now, in this video, Dream supposedly ends up finding the Uber driver, and here he's interviewing him, and the Uber driver basically, it amounts to him saying Dream good, Cantu bad. Dream was being nice and trying to defend the Uber driver. Cantu was attacking him verbally and so on and so forth. I'm not sure how much this is actually worth, considering we don't really see the Uber driver in the video, and we don't know anything around this. I mean, it could have been paid actor, that could be the same Uber driver, but he was offered more money in order to speak in Dream's defense. you know, it's kind of, I want you to have all the information, but it's kind of hard to draw any kind of conclusion from the interview. I think the best takeaway from that section is that, frankly, they both suck. Now, moving on, we've got our 9th total scandal, last one of the video, which is yet another grooming allegation starting at 5948. 5948. There we go.
Of all the Nicholas drama, someone tweeted out this, accusing me of sexting a 16/17-year-old girl named Jamie. Because I was currently the internet punching bag, and it was proof that the punching was justifiable, it was spread very quickly, without a lot of...
Now, this allegation was posted by a burner account on Twitter on behalf of someone, allegedly on behalf of someone named Jamie. And the only evidence really was screenshots and then a video of a Snapchat in which Dream is supposedly moaning. Now, Dream spends an awfully long time talking about this, but when this first came up and I saw the Snapchat of supposedly Dream moaning, even though there's no actual person in the Snapchat, I remember looking through all of it and thinking that it was kind of a nothing burger of a situation that was basically just piggybacking off of all the Dream hate to try and get some internet clout. Because the Snapchat, for example, is suspiciously edited. The Discord messages essentially mean nothing because those can be so easily photoshopped and they're not independently verified by literally anyone else on the internet. The Twitter account is a burner that was created that same day. It has no history. The person that supposedly was groomed never actually came forward or filed any kind of a police reports. The burner account remains completely anonymous throughout this entire thing. There's no real proof offered anywhere that this actually happened. The only tangible thing was a Snapchat from an account in which a person is moaning, but you can't tell who's doing the moaning. And you also, anybody can change their Snapchat name. This is not real proof. Now, I have no great love for Dream, but I remember being so confused at the time because it seems so wild to accuse someone of something as serious as grooming off of the most easily fakeable proof of all time, with one big trust me bro being the source. Now, throughout this Twitter situation, the person on the account supposedly goes and contacts the Orange County Police and files a report, and Dream in his video has this bit, I'm not 100% sure where it is, where he contacts the Orange County Police. Oh, here it is.
Where would prove anything.
He's talking to the Orange County Police, supposedly trying to figure out if there's anybody under his name that has any kind of a report filed, and the person over the phone says there isn't. Now, I don't know how much this is actually worth because there's a possibility it wouldn't be an open investigation that he could easily access. It's a possibility he just faked it. It's a possibility that it's real and nothing, and actually there's no kind of reports, but stuff like that I don't put much stock in one way or the other. I think it's just kind of showmanship. But I also don't think anything was actually filed. I feel like with how profile Dream is and how fast people would be to jump on and point out if any kind of records came up, I think that would have happened by now. So I don't actually think anything was filed against Dream. Now that's basically the end of the video. There's 12 more minutes as you can see, but he spends the rest of it talking about how fake allegations harm people that are actually being groomed and it makes more difficult for them to be believed and come forward. And then he talks a little bit about how easy it is to fake stuff like screenshots, Instagram DMs, and so on and so forth, which is absolutely true. But then that's kind of the end of the video. Now overall, I think this is a really good video and it did genuinely put to rest any concerns I had about Dream having done anything grooming or grooming adjacent or anything illegal with underage people. But it also solidified my belief that Dream has an absolutely massive ego and loves attention, which isn't illegal. But I think it gets him in a lot of trouble, specifically on Twitter, where someone says something and his ego won't let him just let it go. Instead, he feels the need to try and clap back, and I think that leads to a pattern of him clapping back, his fans then harassing the person in real life, then people kind of getting upset at him for this, so that when something comes along, it's very easy for people to believe it because they already don't like Dream or his fan base. This then opens the door for people to make up stuff, and people are already upset and mad at him, so they're more likely to spread it without questioning it because it's that guy on the internet that they hate. In addition to his ego, I also think it's really weird and a horrible idea for him to have so much one-on-one contact with his fans. Frankly, that he legitimately needs to stop. But that's the entire situation. His apology. If I missed or messed up anything, please absolutely leave it in the comments and I'm happy to pin any corrections. Thanks for watching.